Everything's so green. It's spring. I'm in South Tyrol, just near Brixen. We've come from Innsbruck in the pouring rain. This is the journey to spring, as my friends call it. And my gosh, we started in very wintry conditions. Yes, we started in the pouring rain in Innsbruck, the capital of Tyrol. This is the story of how 13 aging cycling stars rode from the wet of northern Tyrol off to the Prosecco sunshine of LaSpezia on the Ligurian coast 5 days later. It's kind of a long story, so let's start at the beginning. At the station in Innsbruck, with the rain falling in sheets and the Brenner Pass ahead. I set off with a badly packed bag, the remnants of man flu, a nasty eye infection that makes me look a bit ridiculous in this video, and, to be honest, less motivation than I usually have for a trip for a dental hygiene appointment. I know this route through Innsbruck from Zwift, the indoor cycling app, but of course there are no cars on Zwift, and as I said, you ride indoors. Nice. In real life, the rain came down, and the road, well, it went up. And when I use the term road, I am using the definition very loosely. But something miraculous happened after we hit the Brenner Pass and crossed into Italy. Well, actually, 3 remarkable things. The coffee got better and cheaper, the rain stopped, and incredible cycling infrastructure popped up everywhere. Okay, Horst, this ride's called The Journey into Spring, and it must be spring because it's finally stopped raining, hasn't it? We're in Italy.
We're in Italy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
In South Tyrol.
Yes. And did you organise the weather? It was pouring with rain when we set off. It was like being in Flanders.
For sure. I organised everything.
Well, you done beautifully. Well done for taking me to this castle. Very beautiful. And I like the bike paths here in Italy. Well
You're
done.
welcome.
Yes, South Tyrol is a cyclist paradise. For the rest of the day and half of the next day, we would be riding on specially built, separated bike paths away from the traffic so we could enjoy the sweeping ride through the mountains without fearing being hit by trucks. Gorgeous. Which makes you kind of wonder, if they can build it in South Tyrol, why can't they build it in North Tyrol too? Day 2 starts with a very easy cruise downhill by the Isaac River, over bridges, through amazing tunnels, over more bridges, and then even more cycling lane tunnels that are so incredible. I'm going to let this bit run for a while. After all of the lights and smooth tarmac, this is incredible bike infrastructure. After passing through the cobbled streets of Bozen, there's a smooth and extremely well-used bike path by the river. And now the sun's out. But you can't spend all day cruising along, can you? I mean, eventually the road has to go uphill, which it does, near the South Tyrolean community of Eppan. And then it goes seriously uphill, onto the Mendel Pass, where everyone starts cycling past me. The Mendel Pass starts off in the beautiful shade of trees, which is nice. Then it gets a bit more exposed. And then it gets a lot more exposed and, well, very spectacular, also with views over the wine gardens of South Tyrol, but very sun-blasted. And by the time, after many minutes of trying to stay in fitter riders' slipstreams, I get to the top of the pass, I'm in need of a very strong coffee and lots of water. From the top of the Mendel Pass, a real delight awaits. A segregated bike path that curves through the forest. It's beautiful and it makes so much sense, right? Cars and bikes don't mix so well on serpentine mountain passes, but if you remove the danger, you add to the fun. Mind you, even back on the roads, Trentino is spectacular. Quiet roads, big views. Even the odd puncture can't spoil my mood, particularly because I'm not helping at all, but rather switching my attention between my mobile phone and those incredible apple orchards. Horst ruined the romance of these gorgeous orchards when he told me just how many gallons of pesticide is generally used on these fields, but we'll try and forget that for now. This is a holiday. The white tights, by the way, are for sun protection. It's quite a look. As the clouds arrive, we turn onto an undulating bike path that takes us into the Val di Sole, where we ride upstream along the rushing Noce River, the Nut River. Soon, the next mountains are in view. We're on our way to the noble ski resort of Madonna di Campiglio.
It's been so beautiful today. We've been again along some amazing bike paths. And I guess it's true, you have to work for your pleasure, because now's the second climb of the day, the big climb of the day. But it's clouded over. Temperatures are good. I'm feeling good. We'll see how it goes.
Well, yeah, it goes slowly, but surely. Let me put it this way. Perfect temperatures, but on wide roads that make progress seem agonizingly slow.
Absolutely gorgeous to climb now. I hope you can see the snowy mountains.
Madonna doesn't look very noble or glamorous in the last days of April. It looks quite lonely, a bit desolate and rather forlorn. It's time to head downhill again, down a long sweeping descent for a polenta dinner at a family guest house. We set off from the village of Spiazzo in Val Rendena in warm spring sunshine. I always feel full of energy riding in the mornings in Italy. Maybe it's because breakfast is so heavy on sugary cakes, pastries and strong coffee. The bike path runs past a rushing stream and takes us past the sites of World War I battles. It's a little cruise, but sometimes it hugs right up against the rock faces, which makes for rather technical, difficult riding. But it is spectacular. There are wooden bridges. And once again, this fabulous bike infrastructure, segregated from the cars. You feel safe, you feel free. It's the joy of bike travel. But it's time to get going now. We've got a long way to go today, and some wide roads through the industrial communities of southern Trentino takes us ever closer to the banks of Lake Garda, a destination I've been really looking forward to seeing. We descend down towards the banks of the lake, and already, after the harsher landscapes of the northern mountains, this seems a gentler area. We're now among olive trees, fruit orchards, and even the sun feels that little bit more powerful, that little bit warmer. Everything feels, to be honest, a little less alpine and that little bit more, well, Mediterranean. Even the narrow, pavement-free streets of the villages on the northern shores of the lake seem quintessentially Italian. We take a few shortcuts, not always successful shortcuts, and then, after a feast of pizza, we find ourselves climbing again with bloated stomachs. Not the perfect start in the afternoon, but the scenery makes up for that. Meadows of poppies, these beautiful trees, and the mountains in the distance. It's meditative riding, and it's simply gorgeous. Even the climbs make me smile in this part of the world. And it's worth it, of course, all that climbing for the spectacular views back over the lake with the yellow houses and the terracotta roofs. Oh, I love Italy. And then there's quite a fast descent, rushing down through the rural fields back towards the banks of that iconic lake of northern Italy. We wind up in Desenzano del Garda, which is a very romantic place for me. This is where I made a wedding proposal. And yes, to my astonishment, she said yes. Although I have to say, I'm still quite glad to get out of the rush of the tourism roads and alongside one of those historic canals that head southwards to our destination for the day, Mantova. The path is a bit busy at first and very, very, very straight. But I'm enjoying it because basically I stick right behind my friends and take none of the wind in my face. I see myself as a kind of Mark Cavendish, although I can't sprint. I let the big guys do the pulling. It is amazing, I have to repeat myself, just how good the bike infrastructure is here in northern Italy. Fresh tarmac, and it's so easy to crunch those kilometres away, which is welcome because, to be honest, I can't wait to get to Mantova. It's a sleeping beauty of a city surrounded by two lakes that form a moat around the town. And Mantova is famous for its food, which is very good news because after 8 hours of riding, I am getting very, very, very hungry. It's the fourth day of riding and a cool, cloudy day as we roll out of Mantova through the rather tawdry outskirts of what's a beautiful city and then into the flat countryside beyond. This is Lombardia, Italy's grain-growing agricultural heartland. It's really inviting riding as we cruise towards the wide horizon. We've seen the forecast. We know that a massive band of rain will hit us sometime in the afternoon as the Apennine mountain range begins. And that means we want to get as many kilometres, and indeed as much pasta, under our belts before the tricky part of the day begins. There's a smoothly tarmacked bike path along the banks of the River Po, and Italian bike clubs are making full use of it. We cross the Great River on an eccentric, dipping bridge. And on the southern banks of the river, we whiz past plantations of fast-growing poplar trees, which give us flurries of spring snow as we cruise up the former driveways of grand agricultural estates, or on narrow paths on the raised ground above the flat fields. It's a magical ambience. This is the town of Brescello, which was used as the set for the film versions of Giovanni Guareschi's cult Don Camillo and Peppone novels, humorous stories of the clash between right-wing and left-wing politics, but also about how compromise can be found and how humanity and pragmatism can come ahead of ideology. A good place for a coffee, don't you think? But after the coffee break, we have to press on because we know that weather is coming. But you know how it is. You just can't outrace the weather. The rain was always going to get us, and it gets us as we climb towards our Tuscan destination, Calagna. I've already put my camera away by now, somewhere safe and dry, and with gritted teeth and thick gloves, I'm struggling desperately to reach the destination up the top of the mountain. But luckily, Andy Pitch, even in the rain, has enough soulfulness to record what is, even in the wet, an absolutely gorgeous landscape. Flower-strewn meadows and wooded hills here in the Apennines. And when you ride through the rain, well, it makes it the sort of epic day that gives you tales to tell over a hearty dinner. After 24 hours of soaking rain, the warmth of the Ligurian coast seems tantalizingly near, but a hilly detour takes us to a historical site, the quarries of Carrara, used since the Roman times to make Italian architecture very sparkly.
They're persuading me to come up one last hill, and I have to say, it's worth it. This is where a lot of the great marble we see in Italy comes from, these mines at Carrara. And I'm going to get run over by a truck if I don't move. No, it's going to be okay. An amazing place.
Right, that's enough culture for one trip. Now it's just a gelato ride to the tune of the magnificent Ross van Bos all the way to LaSpezia. Bikes, by the way, Ross, are better than Lamborghinis.
Parlo italiano un po', ma ti amo, lo so. Sono pronto per noi, sento il tuo cuore. Non ho paura del nostro amore. Ho fame di te, tirami su, su di te. Hai fame di me, tirati su, su di me. Canta con me, gimme panini. Dolce vita, senorita. I drive Lamborghini. You enchant me like Houdini, and I don't know why. While I'm singing all this, I won't be shy. Insegnami, balla balla con me. Ogni volta che ti vedo, ho sempre lo stesso pensiero. Finalmente posso essere felice, sono innamorato di te, Alice. Ho fame di te, tirami su, su di te. Hai fame di me, tirati su, su di me. Canta con me, gimme panini. Dolce vita, senorita. I drive Lamborghini. You enchant me like Houdini, and I don't know why. While I'm singing all this, I won't be shy. Insegnami, balla balla con me. Balla balla con me. Sei la donna della mia vita,